with Senator Dixon and key officials of the NDC is fueling fresh political realignments across the country. The high-level talks come just hours after Mr. Obi formally announced his resignation from the African Democratic Congress ADC in a move widely seen as setting the stage for a new opposition coalition. Mr. Obi has announced his resignation from the ADC, attributing his decision to what it described as a deteriorating political environment within the party and the wider system. He painted a picture of a political space increasingly defined by tension, intimidation, and instability. Meanwhile, we're already seeing some reactions coming from the other side of the divide. This time coming from Mr. Bayo Ononuga, the special advisor to President Bola Tinubu on information and strategy, who has criticized the exit of former Anambra State Governor Peter Obi from the ADC, describing it as a political opportunism ahead of the 2027 elections. Also, Mr. Felix Moka, APC spokesperson, has criticized Mr. Obi's political decision. He went on his social media X handle where he says, Mr. Obi, a political rolling stone that gathers no mass, roaming again in search of free, uncontested, unchallenged presidential ticket, never willing to remain to build any party, fantasizes to be president on a ticket delivered only a platter of gold, ABGA, PDP, LP, ADC, and to NDC. Fear thee were Nigeria's inconsolable political drifter. Earlier in the day, President Bola Tinubu departed Nigeria for France, beginning a three-nation official visit that will also take him to Kenya and Rwanda. The presidential aircraft we saw took off from the presidential wing of the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport in Abuja, marking the start of a diplomatic tour aimed at strengthening economic partnerships and attracting foreign investment. According to the presidency, President Tinubu's first stop is France, after which he will travel to Nairobi to participate in the Africa-France Summit, scheduled for the 11th to 12th of May 2026. Tonight, my guest is sitting at the center of a storm looming around succession plan and the controversy over who becomes the next APC governorship candidate in Nasarawa State. The governor, Engineer Abdullah Sule, is my guest tonight. We'll be asking questions relating to the politics of Nasarawa State, the coming primaries in the state, and the economic summit that is on hand. From the growing controversy over succession plans within the APC, alleged endorsements and concerns on moves, and the issues relating to the governorship race, to questions over internal party democracy, opposition politics, and claims that the ruling party is weakening rivals nationwide. We'll also examine the governor's performance in office, the economic growth, internally generated revenue, and issues relating to power and performance. I'm being joined by His Excellency Governor Abdullah Sule. Thank you so much indeed for joining us tonight on the program.
Thank you, Shewin. Always a pleasure to be here.
Thank you so much indeed. I think before we get into performance, governance, and issues relating to the economic summit, because that is of paramount interest for us on this program, the fact that a lot of people in Nasarawa State, in Abuja, and neighboring states will benefit if the economic situation of Nasarawa State improves more than how it is. But let me begin with the political storm in your state. It does look like something that you have by yourself triggered. The endorsement of Senator Wadada as your preferred successor is as though you are risking undermining internal democracy within the APC. Are you imposing a candidate on your party? Why are you not allowing a free and fair process?
Thank you very much, Shewin. You know, when you say storm, sometimes I get scared about the word storm. What is happening is actually the beginning of political activities. In every situation of political activity, you come across people who are a little bit jittery, some people who have certain commitments and therefore a little more depressed. Some people you come across all kinds of people. And those type of the people that bring all these kinds of big words, storm, disaster, challenge, and the, domination, the lack of democracy, and the rest of that. Let me make it categorically clear on this show. We are going to have, as we agreed as stakeholders, we are going to have an indirect primaries, as free and fair as it can be. And as far as we are concerned, this is what we have agreed, with the major stakeholders, including all the aspirants seated. We all agreed that there is going to be an indirect, and that one is going to come, I think, around the 20th or so of the month. The reason is because that's the date the APC has set up for it. So it doesn't matter how many people are there, that are ready to contest. We are going to have, even if it is only 2 people that are going to contest, we are going to have an indirect primary. So that is clear. Now, when you say I triggered a storm, I didn't trigger any storm. What you see in Nasarawa State today is what has happened continuously in Nasarawa State today. As a matter of fact, in the year 2007, when the first executive governor of the state, His Excellency Senator Abdullahi Adamu, decided actually to have a preferred aspirant called the late Ali Akwedoma. It was fire on the mountain. In fact, the primaries had to be relocated from Lafia, the state capital, to Kefi, the hometown of the governor. Still in Kefi, it couldn't hold the first day. There were throwing of chairs and everything. They had to sneak the governor out of the site. When now Senator Umar Tonko Al-Makura also did the same with me and say I was his preferred aspirant. There were all kinds, what you see today, in fact, the remaining aspirants gang up, and there were all kinds of statements on the paper about money changing hands, about I wasn't qualified, about I couldn't win election, about that. So what you see today is exactly what we have seen that day. The difference is, this time around, it is only one aspirant that is throwing out all this. All the remaining aspirants, are not saying anything. As a matter of fact, each one of them is even coming to me with his form for blessing. Nearly all of them have come to me for one kind of meeting or the other. And the issue of whether they didn't come up until we also have one major stakeholders meeting with all the aspirants present. When it became what you call the storm them, it became very challenging, not between aspirants, but between some so-called stakeholders that we invited there. When it became so, then I decided to end the meeting. The following day, I now invited only aspirants. So when I invited the 8 aspirants from the side of where the preferred aspirant comes from, that's the western zone. I now ask them, I say, this is the zone I prefer because I believe very strongly this is where the zoning of the governorship, candidate should come from. So, and I said, why don't you go? And let me, in fact, take you back to one of your interviews where you say that it's like throwing a bouquet, anybody could catch it. And that's exactly what I did with them. I say, all of you are competent, all of you merit the position, some of you could even do the job better than myself. You had a former speaker twice, in the House of Assembly who is a chartered accountant and currently, my accountant general. You have somebody, again, who was the former executive secretary of the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency. You have somebody who was the former executive vice chairman, CEO of NASENI. You have somebody who is an architect that designed most of our programs. Then you had the Wadada himself. And then you had all kinds of people in there. And then you have the first Attorney General of the state, Barrister Adamson. All of them were there, and every one of them competent to stand the position. So I say, go and select out of yourself and give me anyone. And if they had done that, I will have picked that same person and then go back to sell the person to whoever that you can think of. But they went back, came back to me and said that, here, we are not able to select one of us. And we thank you very much for doing this. But we believe you. We trust you. We have seen how much you have done in Nasarawa State. We believe in your sincerity. We believe in your leadership. Therefore, you select any one of us. all of us will round around that one person and support the person. All the 8 of them agreed. I asked them again, that's what you want? They said yes. So when I met for that consultations, after the consultation, I came up with Wadada. So, and right now, on the same day I announced that, the former speaker, former accountant general came forward and said that we are gentlemen. We made a commitment to you. Here and now, I have stepped down. Some of them say we will go back and consult with other people, and every one of them is coming one after another to now say, we support you, we agreed, we are gentlemen, we are not going to buy forms, we will support Wadada. Even from the other zone that didn't agree that it was the turn of this zone, so far, 2 of them have come forward to say that we agreed with your choice of Wadada, we will support him. So that's where we are. So I don't know where the issue of domination, where the issue of that, there is nothing like that.
In this meeting that you talked about, do you have the former IGP in that meeting?
All the aspirants were there.
Including himself?
Yes.
And they agreed to these terms too?
No. He's not from that zone.
Okay.
You have to understand.
So he was excluded from the zone that in question?
The zone in question, he was not one of the 8. He happens to be from the western zone, from the southern zone, that had actually handed over to me. That's where they had like 12 years, of governance. And they handed over now to our zone. But the zone I'm talking about that I said, preferred zone, is the zone that were the first to be the governor of the state. And they are, by 2027, they will have left power as a governor for 20 years. And that's why I say, to be fair, that's the zone that now we should rotate to. But they are the people who started this rotation, and they are the people I say we should go back. So that is where the zone of all these other prominent people I have mentioned to you, came from. It's different from the other zone. The other zone, you have people like the first SAN, of the state, who is not even saying anything so far. In fact, today he called me and said that he has bought his form. He wants to participate in the process, whether he wins or not. And he would like to come to me for the blessing. I say, I'm waiting for you, SAF. Then you have people like Nasarawa, a 2-time member of the House of Representatives, one of the most committed and performing member of the House of Representatives. And he also came and said he is going to now contest for Senate and he will support the governor. Mm-hmm. We had people also like the former member of the House of Reps twice also, they call him Dr. Talakawa, that's the doctor of the poor. So very hardworking guy, very strong candidate, Dr. Kibu, Joseph Kibu. He also has shown interest, in joining to work with us. So we have that. So right now, more or less, it's like we have only 3 people on the other side, who are still showing interest. There is a lady, Hajia Fati, Abdullahi, who contested really against me in 2023, at the primaries. And then we have, the IGP that you mentioned, the former IGP you mentioned, and then, of course, the SAN that you have. So it looks like maybe 3 of them are the people who are buying forms that will contest on the other side. And even on this side, somebody had bought the form. So there are 2. So we may end up having primaries, direct primaries of 5 aspirants. That's it.
So, and there are allegations, Governor Sule, to the extent that those who believe that you didn't accord the necessary political respect to your predecessor, whom also went through hell to defend his choice of you as his successor. Governor Al-Makura seems not to be consulted. I spoke with him, and he said he was not quite pleased by the way you handle things. Why does it look like you neglected him and some of the leaders of your party in your choice and your endorsement?
I saw the interview. I don't think Governor Al-Makura was talking to you about being consulted. He was concerned about taking the aspirant to the villa without consulting him. I think
that's consultation.
Yeah, that's
because in the scheme of things, he thought that you had done things outside the proper and the normal way and channel through things, because he felt left out. That's how that's the inference that he portrayed on the program on that day.
I do understand that, and I respect whatever he says, and he has the right to his opinion, but he has no right on other things that he doesn't know. Even if he gave back to me, There are certain things he has no right. There are rights, there are privileges. So sometimes people take privileges for rights if they are overdone. I think in the whole of Nigeria, people respect me for the way I have carried along, my predecessors. I have been to so many events where I had no business carrying them along with me. But I pleaded with them to come and go with me. That's a privilege. I have gone to see the former president. I have gone to see the current president. I have carried them along. That's not a right. That's a privilege. So assuming, that's not even what happened, but let's assume I now had this discussion that I have just told you with the aspirants of the Western Zone, and I decided to go and brief Mr. President with the preferred candidate. If I didn't carry Senator Tanko Al-Makura along, that's not his right. If I had done that, that would have been a privilege. But as far as the meetings are concerned, those meetings that we have had throughout, including the meetings that I said became very stormy between him and one of his childhood friends, who was a former ambassador, that made me to even rush and end the meeting. He was at those meetings. Every meeting of the stakeholders, he was invited. Every event we ever had, he has been invited. The truth of the matter is that Senator Tanko Al-Makura, also as an individual, he had a preferred aspirant. And he has the right to have a preferred aspirant. And his preferred aspirant may not be my preferred aspirant because of the fact that they come from two different zones. And I strongly believe, I believe then, I believe now, I believe tomorrow, that it will not be fair to still go back to a zone that has just finished 12 years. That's my justification.
Has he told you about his view about who should be the next, or the governorship candidate of the state?
It is not a hidden secret that nearly all the meetings of that aspirant are held in his house. It's not a secret that he has invited a couple of people, even some of them who are my appointees, and asked them to please work for that aspirant. It's not hidden. It's not also a secret that he had spoken with me and asked me that, can I sit down with that aspirant in order to understand him better? I say there is nothing to understand. As far as I'm concerned, this particular zone is not the right zone. Because the other zone has people who are qualified, who are competent. Again, I state, Sheun, he has the right to support whoever he wants to support. He has the right. But you see, leadership comes with so many things. In fact, one of the aspirants from that particular zone, from the same zone, Ajia Fatih Abdullahi, told me that they were at a meeting where she saw him taking side, and for that reason, she has made up her mind she will not go to any meeting. She's one of the aspirants. And she says she will not go to any meeting in that house again because she had done that. I'm not just making a claim. I'm telling you who said that. And I'm sure she is strong enough to also confirm that. And again, as I keep saying, he has the right to do that. But he doesn't have the right to force me to love his own aspirant, especially when I have my own justification. So I think these are clear things.
But this does it not look, Governor, that you are biting the finger that fed you?
No.
This was a benefactor.
No, I'm
this is the man that brought you into office.
No. He didn't bring me into office. He supported me when I was coming.
But without him, you maybe you may not have been sitting as a governor today.
Maybe not. Maybe I would have done something better in life. He didn't pick me from the dustbin. He picked me as the group managing director of a quartet company.
But that's a privilege also.
It is a privilege.
Being a governor and the man who helped you.
It is a privilege.
It's your godfather. He is your godfather.
He is not my godfather. I always call him a mentor because he mentored me into politics. I wasn't interested in running for governor.
You are beating your mentor in the game.
No, I'm not.
Why are you doing that?
I'm not hitting. No.
Are you grateful to him for the role he played?
I have shown gratefulness to him forever. You see, this is the reason why you see a lot of successors and predecessors having problems in this country. I have maintained my calm throughout. Just because you support somebody doesn't mean that you are. Let me tell you, in the Quran, God says, I created you. Even if the parents who gave birth to you are asking you to do something wrong, that you believe is wrong. He said, don't do it, because I created you, I created them. This is God now talking. So I have done the best I can to work with him. I have respected him everywhere I went. I have done the best I can for him, that to the point where now he say, I will select an aspirant for you to take over from you. I think that's overdoing it. Especially when it's coming from a zone that I don't believe is the right zone. So it's not biting the finger that fed me.
If Senator Wadada, for example, eventually loses the primaries, will you fully support the winner, or is this endorsement a make or break project for your political structure?
Absolutely. I have mentioned this many, many times to them, that God Almighty gives power, not A.A. Sule. A.A. Sule, even the one that you are saying, my godfather who made me, when we went into that primaries, he said I was his candidate. Wadada came second with 500 and something votes. I came first with less than 40% of the votes. That's the time they are saying he made me. We didn't get 40% of the votes. We struggled. And we had people who fought. Yes, I probably would not have gotten the 40% of the votes if he didn't support me. I agree with that. And I thank him for that. I continue to thank him. In fact, he did other things for me apart from just supporting me to be the governor. And everywhere I go, in fact, people say I overthank him. You know, there are people who blame me for overthank you. There is a friend of mine, a senator, who say overthank you, governor. You know, so I have done that out of maturity and out of the fact that I came from a different background. I don't want people to see that. You have seen people in their first tenure, in their first month, having problem with people who supported them. And the kind of support that is even a little bit different from mine. People who came in had no penny, had no background, had nothing. Not the kind of person that I came with my resources and everything. It's different. Yeah.
Why is the choice of Wadada? Is it competency, or is it just a league of your friends that you just want to cover your backs once you're gone?
No, there are so many reasons why I had to choose Wadada. From the beginning, I chose only 3 people in mind. And I kept working on those 3 people to say that, please, help me. I met with traditional rulers. I met with community leaders. I met with former elected officials, former political appointees. I met with with people outside the state, because, you know, sometimes you also have to go outside the state. You know, I met with journalists. I met with all kinds of categories of people. And then I went with these stakeholders that you are talking about, sometimes individually. The same time Al-Makura you are mentioning, I met with him individually, not on Wadada, because the moment I sensed it was not the direction he was going, I was careful in mentioning any name to him. You know, so for that reason that we met, generally, and I kept, for the past 1 year, I kept saying that I will support that zone. I will support that zone. That I made clear from day one. There was no ambiguity in it. You know, I didn't put anybody in doubt for the past 1 year plus. You know, so, and my own is clear. Whether is just lucky to be from that zone. Whether they happened to be from my zone or from the other zone, he would not have been my preferred candidate. You know, so
zoning was your first context.
My first context is to see that we rotate this position for peace, for tranquility, and the rest of that. And for the fact that that particular zone that we are trying to avoid has the highest number of registered voters. Okay? This western zone has the highest number of registered voters, mainly because of, a lot of them don't know that. A lot of them are thinking differently. They are thinking it's still Lafia. Lafia is no longer, you know, owns that authority. Karu currently has over 500,000 registered voters. You know, Lafia is still around 400 and something registered voters. So Karu had taken over. And it is with the continual voter registration, it is going further and further. But that is not even the issue. You know, then you have to look at the other things. Among them, Wadada contested against me and came second in the year 2018. When he came second, I thought he was going to go upset because of everything towards the primaries, that, you know, they were not in agreement also. So I thought he was going to go upset. Instead, he didn't. There were calls from the other opposition political parties. Come, we're going to give you ticket. Come and do this. You know, people were calling him. He refused to go anywhere. He now said the election that had taken place, This one is his elder brother. Whatever he said, it was because of politics. He will work with you. And then he came. He was even the chairman of the campaign council. And he ended up with nothing. We didn't make him commissioner. We didn't make him this. Still, he went ahead. In the year 2023, when it came, he wanted to contest for Senate. But some of these top stakeholders, some of them were against him, the powers that be. They blocked him by changing delegates. He got upset and left the party. And he said something to me very striking. He said to me, he said, "Sir, they blocked me because they know I can win the election." I said, you think so? He said, "I know so. If you allow me, I can go and pick an unknown party to prove to you. And if you allow a free and fair election, I will win." Believe me, he did. He went and brought SDP. He hired some people to work with him, people like Gaza, people like Solomon Akwashiki, people like that. He brought them together. They contested. Every one of them won under the same SDP. And let me tell you what happened in SDP. He was going around and campaigning for his seat as senator and was campaigning for me in APC as a gubernatorial. He said, "Vote for me as senator, but in SDP we don't have a candidate as strong as Engineer A.A. Sule. Vote for A.A. Sule as a governor." And so nearly everywhere he won, I also won. Okay? So he campaigned for me. Now, fast forward. When did I know Odada? 2003. I was the managing director of African Petroleum, APPLC. He was a chairman of the capital market. That's when we got to know one another. So those are the challenging period, of the capital market. The capital market was just growing. Mrs. Indio Kereke at the time, she was in DG. And in Danusa was in charge of SEC and things like that. So I was deeply involved with all these things. I saw the role he played. I was proud at the time, being an MD, wasn't interested in politics at all. But I was proud to see the kind of role and the aggressiveness that he played. That gave him the opportunity to know a lot of investors, a lot of these people, a lot of big people around the country and the rest of that. And from time to time, I invited him also, and I always encourage him to send investors to our state, and things like that. So whether he sent or not is a different thing altogether. Now, let me come to my stage. Since I came, how many investors have come to Nasarawa state? How much we have opened the state? So one of the also factors was to see somebody who has that type of background and thinking, that at least he can bring in people into the state to continue. Because the state was a completely dumb, no activity, nothing whatsoever. We were called State of Solid Minerals. Not one company was processing any of the solid minerals out of the multiple ones we had. The closest that came was a company set up by, I was told, I wasn't in the country then, set up by the children of Sani Abacha to be called Delta Prospectus. They were supposed to be processing barite. That company never took off. Other than that, nothing whatsoever. So since I came, we have brought a lot. And these people continue to ask me, who is going to be the next governor, Your Excellency? Who is going to be the next governor? We hope he is business-oriented as well, like you, this and that. So these are the kinds of...
All right. Quickly, before we go on the break, don't you think it's ironic that at the time you were endorsing Senator Wadada, he was still an SDP senator on the floor of the Senate?
Well, I'm not aware of that. All I know is that in August 2025, he went to his ward of Gangaran Tudu in Kefi and resigned. He now came to our party and joined. They brought him all the way to Lafia, where I gave him a flag in September 2025. This I know. Now, it was much later I heard about this story, about he didn't cross on the floor. So now I engage, I'm a structured person. So I now engage lawyers. Please go and check for me before it's too late for me. Go and check. So they went, they carried out a legal review of it, and they advised me. They say political parties are joined at the what level, you resign at the what level, what happens on the floor is a formality. This is the legal opinion I receive.
No, don't you think it's also unfair to those who think that those who have stood in the party have been loyal to the party? You brought a returnee to be your successor or to be the candidate of the party. Is that fair to those who have...
Who is a returnee?
He's a returnee. Isn't it from returning to the SDP?
You see, if he had left in 2018, 2019, the one I was telling you, I will actually consider him a persona non grata straight away, because I will think that he was not a fair kind of person. But this one, I was a sitting governor. I knew why he left. And I knew when he came back. I will be wrong to say that when APC was being formed in 2014, he was one of them that came from what they call the new PDP. So at the teaching period of APC being formed, they were there. They came with people like the same Abdullahi Adamu, the same Atiku Abubakar, and the same of that. They all came together at that time. As I said, that time I wasn't in politics. I was running my business in Lagos. But this is what happened. Right. So I don't think he's a returnee.
Give me a moment. We need to take a break. But when we come back, our focus will be on the economic situation in Nasarawa State. The governor has been speaking about politics, but what about the economics and the welfare of the people of the state? That gets our attention after this break, everyone. Join us again.
And cable, great quality, now with the new look. TerraQ, now available in crayfish.
Is your building's final line of defense formidable? At Swiss Ray Doors, we have redefined what it means to be truly secured with our doors as guardian masterpieces. Our doors boast of visible protection and are rated to withstand high-caliber threats without compromising a single line of your building's aesthetics. Peace of mind is a true luxury with Swiss Ray Doors. Our 50% discount sales offer is still on, and to buy doors at 50% off, contact us today.
Improve infrastructure connectivity and innovative ideas that move our people from poverty to prosperity.
From the north to the south, across valleys, rivers, and rising skylines, one name powers it all. Secure, intelligent, and built to last. Nigeria's digital transformation is unfolding before our eyes. We connect governments, empower agencies, and enable service delivery in the private sector, all driven by brilliant minds and bold ideas. Across public and private sectors, governance to learning, e-health to emergency response, we are integrating the systems that drive our progress as a nation. Keep evolving every day, every night, because Nigeria's digital future begins today. Galaxy Backbone, enabling digital services.
As we celebrate International Workers' Day 2026, the Trade Union Congress of Nigeria, led by the President General, Comrade Engineer Festus Osifo, felicitates with Nigerian workers and workers across the world. This year, TUC commemorates May Day across the 36 states and the FCT with the theme, Insecurity and Poverty, the Bane of Decent Work. We honor the Nigerian worker whose courage, sacrifice, and resilience keep our nation moving despite the security challenges and economic uncertainties. Today, we celebrate every worker who rises each day with hope. Your labor is the quiet strength behind every home, every workplace, and every dream of a better Nigeria. Happy International Workers' Day. Solidarity forever. Announcer, Comrade General N.A. Toro, PhD, MNI, Secretary General, TUC.
Malaria is gone. No more cold and pain. What is wrong with my husband?
Ma, he was very sick in the office. This is the lab result.
Get Luta.
Thank you, Luta. With Luta, malaria is in big trouble.
Luta contains artemether and lumefantrine, and it is used to treat malaria.
Luta is another quality product from Ovid and marketed by Pharmatex Nigeria Limited.
Following the conclusion of the second phase of the nationwide continuous voters registration exercise, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, will from Wednesday 29th April to Tuesday 5th of May 2026 display the preliminary register of voters at all local government areas where the exercise took place. During this period, citizens can verify their information and request for correction of errors or omission in their details as they appear in the preliminary register of voters displayed at the LGAs. In addition, citizens can object the inclusion of names of deceased people, underage persons, or foreign individuals in the preliminary register of voters for possible removal. INEC is therefore calling on all registered voters to take advantage of this opportunity and report inaccuracies to enhance the integrity of the National Voters Register. This message is brought to you by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, making your vote count, consolidating our democracy.
Everyone for staying with us on the program. My guest is the governor of Nasarawa State, Engineer Sule. Thanks so much, Your Excellency, for your time tonight on the program.
Thank you.
I'd like you to clarify those who were saying that you're playing anti-party activity and that you were holding secret meetings and you were supporting, planning to support behind other candidates other than the President Bola Tinubu. When did you hold that meeting and why were you holding a meeting in Mecca with Atiku Abubakar?
I think they are the people who are accusing me that I should answer that question.
Were you in Mecca with Atiku Abubakar?
I don't know Atiku Abubakar was in Mecca. I was in Mecca to perform my Umrah as I have done every year. Whether Atiku Abubakar was there in Mecca or not, I don't know.
And you have not seen Atiku Abubakar in the last...
The last time I saw His Excellency Atiku Abubakar was maybe about 5 years ago. Last time that I saw him like that in a mosque.
And you have not met any of his proxies?
Why would I meet any of his proxies? And Sheun, I have absolutely no reason whatsoever to do anti-party. No reason whatsoever. At a time that I'm leaving office, I didn't do anti-party when I was in office. It's at the time that I was transiting that I will do anti-party. This is the time that I want APC to win in all the positions in my state. This is the time I want President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to win his election more than any other time because I believe in his economic reforms. His economic reforms have been very beneficial to Nasarawa State.
Are you happy in the manner in which things have turned in our country today and the allegations against your party, that your party and elements within your party have decimated, they've destroyed opposition parties and structure in this country? Is it fair to have gone into this election allowing opposition to be literally non-existent and really weak? Is it a good thing for the ruling party that we are having a weakened opposition in Nigeria?
If you ask the PDP right now, who is destroying the PDP, most of the time they will tell you it's a minister. It's one minister that is destroying it. That minister is not even in APC, but yet it is APC as a party that is being accused. Some of them go deeper to say that it's the president who is destroying this. So how does that apply that it is APC destroying this? Now, when people have their own cheating problems taken off, they say that the same kind of accusation about the number of governors. During the period of Jonathan, he had about the same governors. Today we have 32 governors. I believe during that time he had 31 governors. Nobody accused that he was destroying a party. So I think that when people have their own problem, they should find a way to resolve the problem. It's not APC per se. If they want to select certain individuals that are there, for instance, I'm doing nothing in my state to destroy the PDP, ADC, PRP, or any NMPP or any other party. We're just doing our work. If anything is destroying them, it's our performance. Because we are performing better than they have ever expected.
These people it's a subterfuge of some sort, and people are doing it and on behalf or in the name of, in law, you cannot even defend it, Governor. If any of your agent is acting, you won't say, oh, you close your eyes and say, I don't know about it.
No, but who is our agent?
You have said that if people who are working for this government are the one responsible in destroying the opposition.
No, I didn't say that. I said this is what people say. If, for instance, you say that someone who is a member of your party, but is now working inside this government, if you like, fire him and say that is already anti-party.
But you heard what Femi Gbajabiamila said.
Yeah, what did he say?
Encouraging a sitting member of the House of Reps to go ahead and decimate the ADC.
Okay, I didn't hear.
And this accusation is coming on your party.
Let me hear.
Will you be happy, Governor, that our democratic values are being decimated and destroyed on the altar of politics in this country?
I will not be happy if that is being done. But let me go back again to the same factor I'm giving to you. With due respect to the Chief of Staff, he's an individual. He's not the party. We can agree.
He's the president. We can agree. He's the president in some form.
Well, okay.
Because
he can be president.
He works for the president. He's closer to the president.
Well, he's close to the president, but that doesn't necessarily says that it is the president. He's not the spokesperson of the president. In fact, even the spokesperson of the president is limited to a certain extent. So, but to say that because Chief of Staff, I haven't heard him say that, but let's assume he said that. If he said that, he is supporting somebody, does that translate now to APC destroying that? You see, let us differentiate them. By the time APC as a body, not even the chairman, APC as a body goes into a convention or goes into an event and take a decision, we are going to destroy that. That's the time APC is now.
There are those who will say that strategy of decimating the opposition is not a smart politics.
Well, I told you before that people are in... we always say that you are in business to remain in business. The whole essence of being in business is to remain in business. So the whole essence actually of being in politics is to remain in politics. When you are in...
So it's a matter of survival for the APC to see other political parties that are not standing any longer or weakened opposition.
I didn't say survival because APC is not fighting for survival. APC has survived.
Is it not fighting for survival?
No.
To gain more influence in the eyes of the Nigerian people?
No.
That's survival.
We already have the influence. I told you that our performance and the rest of that is already enough influence, and that's why I gave you an example of our state.
Let me quickly take you into governance and economics of the economy of Nasarawa State. And I'd like to ask you, you are already planning a Nasarawa Investment Summit, which I now understand is become a pattern every 2 years. This is what you do. Right. And since about 2022, you have said to have attracted about $2.3 billion in investment to Nasarawa State. Mm-hmm. But those who will say, how do you substantiate? What are these investments in terms of the nitty-gritty of things, in terms of the livelihood of the people of the state? How would you say, what are the statistics to show that, Engineer Sule, this is the 2.3 billion investment and how it has impacted the people of Nasarawa State?
For me as an engineer, it is question of facts don't lie. Go to Nasarawa local government today. You have seen the first lithium processing plant that was built at a cost of about $200 million. Go to the same Nasarawa today, just a little bit, about 5 kilometers from there, you will see the biggest one so far in Africa that is going to be doing 12,000 metric tons a day. That is also completed. That one is built for close to 500 million US dollars. They are there. These are the things that you can see. So that's what I mean by Reba McIntyre's facts don't lie. Now, coming back to the benefits, because all these things, how do they benefit the people? Okay? So I will take just one or two of them, for instance. Go to the one of Avatar. Avatar, which is a company that has already been built, commissioned by the president, himself. That company today has brought technology that Nasarawa State youth had not seen before. So they are learning skills that they didn't have before. They didn't even know about it before. They have obtained employment that they didn't have before. The state is generating revenue from there that never had it before. They have done schools, they have done hospitals, they have provided power, they have provided water for the people that they didn't have before. These are the kind of things that they have. It's the same story when you go from one factory after another.
The question I would like to ask, and I'm one person that is always very excited when state, and I'm talking about governments now, and not only focused in a non-capitalist tendency. They're doing welfareism, but I'm also very excited when there are tendencies of the state to be capitalist in looking at investment and economic drive of the state. And because Nasarawa State is rich in so many resources, Nasarawa State has rich deposit of lithium, limestone, tin, marble, tantalite, even agricultural produce. But the big question here, Governor, is if Nasarawa State attracted over $1 billion in investment and has generated over $200 billion in revenue, more than half of the people in Nasarawa State are still deemed very poor, multidimensionally poor. Mm-hmm. Your people are still poor, yet you're talking about investment. Mm-hmm. How does that impact on them?
That's the essence of getting the investments. Today, it is 50% of the people that are poor. When we came in, it's like 75% of the people who were poor.
57% actually. That's the poverty rate in your state.
Good. So when we came in, it was actually like 70-something% of the people were poor. It was no factory whatsoever. It was that. So you can see the essence and the drive and the hunger to continue to attract these kind of institutions to come. Because the more they come, the more employment we give, the more training people have, the more independent they become, the wealthier they become.
I'm not even bothered about unemployment rate, because unemployment rate in Nasarawa State is one of the lowest in Nigeria.
It is.
But the poverty burden in your state is still very high.
You know why?
And yeah, because you know why I'm bothered about it? Because the state cannot be rich. You cannot be bringing money into the state, yet your people are still poor. It doesn't make sense.
No, the way you have to look at it, Sheuni, is that are we getting poorer or we're getting wealthier? Take the figures, 2019. Take the figures of the poverty level today. That's the way to look at it. Because, and this is still with the fact that we had more people that were born, we had more people that graduated, we had more people in the year 2019. The total registered voters that we had in Karu local government was lower than even Nasarawa local government. Today, Karu as a local government is actually the fastest growing local government in the whole country.
Technically, Governor,
yes,
your people, yes, may be somewhat engaged, but they are either low-income farmers, they are in informal trading, they are seasonal worker, and they are underemployed. And that's why the question, if this industrialization drive is coming into the state, there is a big question about human capital development, such that your people, yes, the jobs are there, the monies are coming, but your people are still not able to provide for themselves because they are still informally or technically poor in that sense.
Poverty index is usually calculated when it comes to workers by actually how much they get paid, because there is actually a range. The companies that I have mentioned to you, their lowest workers are earning not less than 100,000 a month. In the civil service, the minimum is 70,000. More than half of the people are earning less than 100,000. This is where the challenges are coming. And that's why I keep encouraging people that private sector is the direction to go. Because civil service, you are earning 70,000, 71, 73, 75, this and that. And when you go into people who have retired in pension, they are earning again 30,000, 40,000, 50,000. These are the issues.
All right. Give me another moment, Governor. But we'll take another break and we come for Governor Sule's final thought on the program. We'll be right back, everyone.
And cable. Great quality. Now with the new look.
Is your building's final line of defense formidable? At Swiss Ray Doors, we have redefined what it means to be truly secured with our doors as guardian masterpieces. Our doors boast of visible protection and are rated to withstand high-caliber threats without compromising a single line of your building's aesthetics. Peace of mind is a true luxury with Swiss Ray Doors. Our 50% discount sales offer is still on, and to buy doors at 50% off, contact us today.
As we celebrate International Workers' Day 2026, the Trade Union Congress of Nigeria, led by the President General, Comrade Engineer Festus Osifo, felicitates with Nigerian workers and workers across the world. This year, TUC commemorates May Day across the 36 states and the FCT, with the theme, Insecurity and Poverty, the Bane of Decent Work. We honor the Nigerian worker whose courage, sacrifice, and resilience keep our nation moving despite the security challenges and economic uncertainties. Today, we celebrate every worker who rises each day with hope. Your labor is the quiet strength behind every home, every workplace, and every dream of a better Nigeria. Happy International Workers' Day. Solidarity forever. Announcer, Comrade General N.A. Toro, PhD, MNI, Secretary General, TUC.
Governor Sule, this economy summit that you are planning, why that focus? Because I see your budget is still largely, the capital expenditure is still just about less than 60% of your personnel. You see carrying so much on recurring expenditure. Are you able to think out with this? Is this part of your plan in this economy summit to fix some of the inadequacies and the imbalance that you see in the economy of the state?
Yeah, Shaun, quickly, like you rightly mentioned, the first summit we gave the theme of, diamond in the rough. When we did that, we came up with a lot of things. We came up with most of this PPP arrangement, came up with the need for us to be able to establish our institutions that must submit, must also support investment, such as the Nasarawa Investment Development Agency, which is actually established by law, including BERA. So we came up with all these institutions. And one of which that we came up with that is very, very important is what we call the infrastructure fund, where 5% of our revenue is going to go straight into that fund. That fund is to support the other people. It was at the second summit of 2022, which we call the Renaissance, Industrial Renaissance. That means to take from diamond in the rough that we have done after getting all these companies that came. And so many companies came, into Nasarawa State. A lot of people don't know. So if you go to so many places, REA, will tell you today that Nasarawa has the highest number of mini-grids That brought about more economic activities. The same thing with the judicial reforms that we brought in, and that's where we now establish, all these mini courthouse to settle and resolve disputes, commercial disputes and disputes that have to do with investment. But this year's, that we are doing is called bold transitions. The reason why we say bold transition is because it's a transition period for us. It's the last summit that we are going to have. And so far, we have commitment, to tell you how interested investors have shown in our state, as shown. The entire summit is being funded by investors. Not 1 naira is coming from the state. So the essence now, and this is not just a talk shop, because I have attended so many summits where people just talk and talk and talk and talk and disperse, and that's the end of the summit. So for us, we are setting up a summit where there is going to be a day room to enter into the agreements and get commitments about what to do. Lastly, is one thing that we are doing at this summit. That's one of the reasons why it is called that. It is actually called Lafia Declaration. The essence of Lafia Declaration that we are doing is to invite all political parties, because we don't know who is going to be the next governor. Maybe APC, maybe even another party. So we are inviting them, the leaders of those political parties. They should come and be part of this. That will give comfort, to the investors.
All right. So the next time is going to be Senator Abdullahi Sule. You picked the form yet?
We wait to see. Somebody picked the form for me. But we wait and see how it goes.
Engineer Abdullahi Sule, originally Governor Abdullahi Sule, and soon to be Senator Abdullahi Sule, if the people of Nasarawa State agrees to that. But thank you so much indeed for your time, and I appreciate it. I wish you the very best in the coming days.
Thank you
so much indeed.
Almost a pleasure.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
That's our conversation with Governor Abdullahi Sule of Nasarawa State. Thanks so much everyone for watching. I'm Sean Kimaloe. God bless Nigeria.
Lawmakers within our national and state assemblies are the voice of the people. Women occupy only 21 out of 469 seats in the National Assembly, a mere 4.5%. While in the states' assemblies, of the 991 legislative seats across the 36 state houses of assembly, women hold only 54 seats, or roughly 5.4%. It is abysmal that 15 states currently have no women represented in their legislatures at all. This means that half of Nigeria's population is effectively shut out of key decision-making spaces. This imbalance is not due to a lack of competence, ambition, or leadership capacity. Nigerian women have consistently demonstrated excellence and delivered measurable results across every sector: business, civil society, and public service.
Now, the 10th House of Representatives has as one of its core priorities in the legislative agenda the item on inclusion, which accommodates the Special Seats Bill. I was privileged to chair the House Committee on Legislative Agenda until recently, when, by the indulgence of the Speaker, I have been assigned another committee. So the entire House of Representatives and indeed the National Assembly is interested in the Special Seats Bill to allow for the participation of women in the affairs of lawmaking, to advance the interests of women, the interest of children in our agenda. Our particular interest is to ensure that women participation, not just in politics, but in the business of lawmaking, is advanced, and they are also allowed to be critical participants in building the nation. I am a he for she, and I'm in support of the Special Seats Bill for women across the Federation. I join my colleagues in the National Assembly to support the Special Seats Bill, support women. After all, without women, all of us would not have been born. Let them be part and parcel of what we do here in the National Assembly. And I bet you to be the best for our country, to project the image of our country in the international community, and to expose our women, not just to politics, but to governance.
Distinguished lawmakers, soon you will cast a vote on the Special Seats Bill for Women. Beyond legislation, you'll be answering a question that will outlive all of us. On which side of progress did I stand? Your vote is the opportunity to uphold that legacy of leadership. The Special Seats Bill provides a critical opening for the National and State Assemblies to correct the gender imbalance in women's representation in the legislature. We urge you to support a legislature that truly reflects the people it serves.
It looks like a party, but it's how change begins. Young people coming together to protect the places they live.
Across Africa, young people are worried about the climate, and they are turning that into action.
In Zimbabwe, that means green clubs and conservation groups are popping up everywhere.
And we are not just going to sit behind closed doors in hotels or in conferences and so forth. We're going to go outside and we're going to impact everyone.
Elaine Chiroto and Hannah Mapisiri are thinking big. They are out and about in Monaville wetland, which is located in Zimbabwe's capital, Harare. The protected area is a vital part of Harare's water cycle, but pollution and development are still very real threats.
Wetlands Monaville is one of the most important wetlands in Zimbabwe, or spaces in Zimbabwe, because we are talking about saving lives here. We're talking about protecting the species that are here, because in this world, not only humans inhabit it, we have other species that really need a place to live.
Hannah Mapisiri has joined a group of local residents for a cleanup in the Monaville wetland. She is involved with Climate Control Zimbabwe, one of the country's main environmental networks for young people. For Hannah, what counts is that people have fun taking collective action.
At a social level, it's very important because the young and the old get time to actually sit down and engage and network and also have different aspects and opinions and perspectives when it comes to environmental issues.
The result of today's work, 12 bagfuls of trash have been removed from this fragile ecosystem. Cleanup done. It's time to celebrate. Welcome to the quietest party in town. Rather than listening to music via speakers, people tune in via wireless headphones. It's called silent disco. Hannah also enjoys dancing without disturbing nearby wildlife or people. The event is part of a bigger initiative to protect Monaville wetland.
We can even hear the insects chirping, the birds chirping as the sun goes down. But there's a party happening inside these headphones. And, you know, that's just